welcome to another episode of News Analysis. Here we dissect news, we talk about things that are trending, things that are current. So if you're new to this channel, do not delay, do not hesitate. Hit that subscription button so you can become part of this news family. On today's episode, Nnamdi Kanu has said no, he will remain in police custody. Nothing will bring him out of police custody except for one reason. Make I read them how I talk am. Oh yeah, let's go. Now the Genius Media Nigeria reports that Nnamdi Kanu, the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, Ipob, on Saturday said he's prepared to remain in detention all his life until a proper and impartial judge handles his matter. Wahala no go finish for this country. Nnamdi Kanu, where you know say Nigerian government no like you, where you know say from the judge down to even your lawyer self, you no even supposed to trust. You say you no go come out until impartial judgment reach your side. Wahala go dey o. Kanu alleged the serial executive and judicial fraud being perpetrated against him. He alleged that since 2021, he has been rendered powerless in the courts and has been given no form of justice at all. The Ipob leader claimed that his matter is deliberately being shielded from justice and judges who can deliver impartial judgments that may lead to the federal government losing in court. Kanu is currently facing trial before Justice Binta Nyako of the Abuja Federal High Court on terrorism-related charges. He has been detained since 2021 when he was subjected to extraordinary rendition from Kenya to Nigeria. Since his return to Nigeria, the appeal court in Abuja had discharged and acquitted him of all charges against him. Despite the ruling, the Nigerian government has refused to grant Kanu his freedom. Meanwhile, there have been some back and forth with Justice Nyako over the handling of his matter. In 2024, Kanu had challenged this particular judge to step down from his trial because he lacked confidence in her judgment. It be like say the thing come pain the judge. It be like say she no like wetin Kanu talk. So responding, the judge recursed herself. But the Chief Judge of the Federal High Court, John Toso, insisted that she should continue with the matter. Last week, Justice Nyako adjourned the matter indefinitely. Haba, this woman self, matter where we want me finish, me will not the stand where Igbo people get. You just adjourn them indefinitely. However, in an open letter, he personally signed Kanu said, I've been compelled by the events of the past few days to take the unusual step of writing this open letter for the singular purpose of calling the attention of the general public to the serial executive and judicial fraud being perpetrated against me since my extraordinary rendition in 2021. In a judgment entered on 1st March 2017, the Federal High Court Abuja ruled that the Ipob is not an unlawful group. At the time, it received widespread publicity, which can be verified. This landmark ruling made that the court, before it turned unjust, emanated in a criminal proceeding that required proof beyond reasonable doubt, and in which the federal government and my humble self presented our respective cases. Alas, instead of the federal government to go on appeal as the law mandated, if they are dissatisfied with the judgment, that is, the former Attorney General Abubakar Malami went behind closed doors with a letter signed by late Abba Kyari and got Ipob proscribed, tagged the terrorist group in an ex parte proceeding conducted without notice to me or to the Ipob. This abominable incident was the earliest sign yet that the government and its judiciary had struck an unholy and fraudulent alliance to deny me my right and thereby imperil the lives and liberty of millions who identify with Ipob. On the 27th October 2020, a federal high court declared my extraordinary rendition and detention as unconstitutional, stating that the manner of arrest and detention of myself in Kenya and continued in Abuja is subjection to physical and mental trauma by the respondent, and this inhuman and degrading treatment meted out to me was unlawful and was against my fundamental human rights. Now, the court further ordered the federal government to apologize to me and pay me compensation. In a responsible and well-ordered society run by a responsible government, this judgment is sufficient to have ended my lengthy detention and encouraged the federal government to constructively engage me on the issue of self-determination, agitation, which triggered this whole saga. Now, pedal back to 13th October 2020, when the Court of Appeal held that the court must never shy away from calling the executive to order when they resort to acts of executive lawlessness. The duty of the court is to remain a balance between ensuring that law and order is obeyed and the protection of the individual from the oppressive actions by the executive. Now, this open letter by Nnamdi Kanu, he also added that despite the clarity of this judgment and its complement with reason, the federal government refused to release him from detention while it went behind closed doors and connived with 3 other justices of the Court of Appeal who fraudulently and most maliciously put him still behind closed doors. According to him, he said one way or another they have decided to keep him in chains. He said one may then ask, is it not abominable for a court to stay a judgment the government already disobeyed? In a plethora of cases, the Supreme Court has held that anybody who disobeys a related court order cannot be given any judicial relief until such order is obeyed. This is sound reasoning that applies to everybody that is fraudulently overlooked when it comes to my case. Fast forward to 15th December 2023, when the Supreme Court sent back my case to the Federal High Court for trial. For avoidance of doubt, that was not the only decision the courts made. It also decided that my bail should not be revoked, and it went on to state clearly that the judge exhibited significant and unacceptable bias by revoking my bail. In a sane society, one would expect that when the High Court received my case from the Supreme Court and hankered down from trial, it was also duty-bound to restore my bail in line with the pronouncements of the Apex Court. But that did not happen. Why? Well, your guess is as good as mine, and that is, the court connived with the federal government to continue my detention in violation of Section 287 of the Nigerian Constitution, while they plotted to railroad me through an unfair trial that already has a predetermined verdict. To conclude this open letter, let me, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, make it clear that it should be in no way construed to mean that there are no decent judges in Nigeria that can be trusted to deliver and hand over cases. Instead, the issue is that my case is deliberately being shielded from judges and justice system. They are deemed to be committed to doing me injustice alongside the federal government. Be that as it may, if it will take the rest of my life in detention to produce me a proper and impartial court, then so be it. But let me say this for the world to know. I will not succumb to any trial conducted by any judge or court whose jurisdiction does not pass constitutional muster. Not now, not ever. This open letter long, but Mazi Kanu would say no, he must pour out his heart. He must say what concerns him. Netizens, what is your people's comment regarding this issue? Do you actually think this government is ready to release Mazi Kanu? What is their fear? What is their reason for this unlawful act? Like, it's glaring that they are in the wrong, but yet they are still insistent, and their silence is even more deadly. What is your comment regarding this issue? Do you think he would ever be released? It's almost becoming like Abiola's time. It almost brings to remembrance the military regime. But why should in a democratic government someone remain in police detention for this long? Adding to the fact that the court has already granted him freedom, granted him bail, but yet these things have been revoked just so he would stay in police detention. What could be the underlying factor? Because with politicians, there is always more to meet the eye. Drop what you think in the comment section below, and if you're yet to subscribe to this channel, please hit the subscription button so you can get current news and updates.